You know, we've been working with 10 entrepreneurs this week, business owners, operators. They've all got different identities based upon how they view business. Half of them have got the same problems, and I'm going to say the 3 terms, and I just want you to slow down and pay attention to how it makes you feel, and then I'm going to share with you what I did. Age debt over 30 days. Cash flow problems. The big one. Projects delayed and been thrown down the road for the next 3 to 6 months. How does that make you feel, and is it relatable to you? When I go back 4 decades, I used to pay attention to emotional intelligence, human beings, and I used to see how triggers in an external world have a different impact and a different meaning. Some people would reframe it and give it a different meaning, where people would just go straight to a 10 and be aggressive and be emotionally stressed, sometimes tearful. And that's the fascinating thing about human beings. When you don't understand yourself inside, you then get external information and that takes control of you and you lose control. And that's what's happened with human beings this week. And what I would say to you is, there's Ramana's quote: the self is here and now, and it is the only reality, there is nothing else, we only have the present. And once you get rapport with the business owners, the operators and the entrepreneurs, I hold a pen up and I say, I've heard what you've got to say, but can we do something? And I hold the pen up and I just say, can you focus on that object for 1 minute and just clear your mind? And when we do it for 1 minute, my automatic response is, how do you feel right now knowing that you've just done that? And they actually say to me, I feel better, because you've cleared your mind and you've just focused on the pen, so you became the pen. Then what I do is I take them straight back to a timeline and I say, I want you to go 5 years before you set the company up. I just want you to think about what you do, and I'm going to say to you, age, debt, cash flow and projects being kicked down the road. How would that affect you if somebody was talking to you and they said it wouldn't, because it's got no relevance to me? So what I'm saying is how your nervous system is now coded based upon repeated experiences, because the 3 experiences I'm talking about, there's no solutions being created, but you're trapped in the left side of the brain, logic brain, beta brain, and your nested loops are firing and wiring in the brain the same way, so you're getting the same output. And what I did was I said, how does that make you feel? And I said, when you go back to birth, and as you grow as a human being, the human being only wants 2 things: to know you're enough and have connection. The 3 things that your experience is not giving you connection. You feel as if you're disconnected, and you don't feel worthy. You feel weak, you feel vulnerable, you feel unworthy. Because if you were worthy, they would be paying you, is that not right? If they were worthy, you'd be starting a contract in time, but that's what you choose to think. The pathway changes how you think by re-engineering how you think and how you feel. And the concept of what we do is, we sit in a chair, we've captured the reality, we've captured the emotional intelligence, and we get the book. And it's about self-observing and self-realisation. Because this book, which is my book that I've written under emotional intelligence, is that column there is about you scoring yourself 1 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 10. Red, amber, green, every hour on the hour. And imagine what would happen if you were supremely evaluating the observer of your own life, on your thoughts and on how you feel. I've done this for 4 decades. I used to write out journals in terms of what I was saying under age debt, cash flow and projects being kicked down the road. And I would actually start looking at the tonality of the pitching of the words and how I was saying it and how I was describing it to myself. And then I'd start and I'd rip the page up and throw it away. I'm going to reframe that so that it gave me a different feeling. It's not just about growing your business, about growing a compelling future. It's about developing you to understand neurology and the nervous system, the unconscious, the subconscious and the conscious mind. All we have is right now. What I can say is, the clients who have left, they won't feel that again, because we're now understanding the past and the present and why we're operating this way. But what we've decided to do is we're going to start looking at different ways to overcome cash flow problems, how we can communicate with the client so that we can get paid in time. Sometimes honesty is the best process, by telling people this is who we are. We can't afford to have cash flow problems or you're going to affect our business. And the other one is, how are you anticipating projects not being delayed? Instead of focusing on a 1 customer, focus on multiple customers. Instead of focusing in 1 division, can you open multiple divisions? So we're giving people choices. We're giving people different ways to think by constantly reframing. Because the concept of being in business is to be emotional and free, use the whole brain, and build a fantastic, award-winning, sustainable business. Hope that makes sense.